Hi, everyone. Welcome to my presentation today. I am talking about unveiling the hidden dangers of sugar in everyday foods. And I won't, I may not be able to answer all of your questions or comment because I'm on three different um, social media networks. So whatever your questions and comments are that you have and you put them in the comment section or the chat, then I will definitely get back to them at the end of the presentation. So I hope that you guys can see me okay and hear me okay. And so with this being said, I hope that you all are here and ready to hear this eye-opening information about the hidden sugars that's in our food, the dangers of them. So, how are you all doing today on this fabulous Wellness Wednesday? I hope that you've had a great day so far and that you are ready to hear some information. So, once again, welcome for today's discussion on our topic, the hidden dangers of sugars in our everyday food. And I'm really excited to share some of this information with you and some of the statistics about how sugar is impacting our health and our wellness. I thought about when the types of foods that I experienced mostly in the 70s and the 80s. And the diet was a little bit different from how it is today. The evolution of popular sugary foods from the 1970s to the present day um, has an interesting perspective on how dietary habits have changed and the increasing awareness of sugar and its hidden dangers in our foods. In the 1970s, some of my childhood favorites like Captain Crunch and Raisin Bran, Rice Krispies, Cocoa Pebbles. Those were my favorite cereals, and others like Cracker Jacks. I just love those ones. For one, because there was always a prize inside the box, and so I always begged my mother to get me that whenever she went to the grocery store. We also drank Kool-Aid, but not a whole lot, about once a week, and we had sweet tea. There was this one other cereal that I liked that had a record on the box, and that was really exciting. So, all of these sugary foods, they can reflect the food culture of that time, the cereals and the snacks. They were accepted, but they weren't really celebrated. But one thing that we did have was a candy lady. That was a common phenomenon back then. It was easy, accessible for candy, but it really was all about, feeling good and tasting good, but didn't consider any of the nutritional value that was in any of these treats. So, question for you. Do you remember some of your favorite cereals and treats as a child? If you do, then put a one in the comments and tell us what it was. That I would love to hear from you. Then as we move on towards the beginning of the new millennial, we you would see that there was like a starting to have a shift. That was around the time that my children were growing up. So there was a shift towards the attitudes of sugars. The negative health impacts and excessive sugar consumption began to gain quite a bit of attention on and scrutiny of the food products. This period saw a rise in awareness campaigns of nutrition, and the nutritional labeling changed on a lot of the products. And you'll see that companies started having fast food companies started adding salads and other alternatives to their menu, and that was really exciting. They also had, like, fruits and other options, and not just like fries. And if there were like French fries, they would also give you the option of maybe a baked potato. But then, parents have become more conscious of having the school menus having more balanced diets and implementing healthier guidelines for the school lunches. So then we also saw a change in the school vending machines and other vending machines. They started having like nuts and less candies and more waters, all different kinds of water choices. So are you guys with me so far? Just want to know that you're following me. So if you are, then put a 2 in comments if you're with me. So now we're going to fast forward to 2024, and the discussions around the food and sugar and everyday foods became more prevalent. You heard more about it from health experts and researchers and policymakers, and they were actively addressing the hidden sugars, the dangers of them, and eating sugars in excess. And then they started doing more and more studies, and they were showing that there was a definite link between high sugar consumption and health issues such as obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and all of that has been well established. The food industry then, as a result, responded by reformulating their products, reducing sugar content, and providing clearer nutritional information on the packaging. Today's conversation around sugar in everyday foods, it's not just a direct source. It doesn't just talk about the direct sources of sugar in sodas and candies, but they're also starting to, have more information about the hidden sugars, like seemingly healthy options. And I'm finding that more and more, the more I start really paying attention to the labels. Processed foods, condiments, and even seemingly innocent snacks can contain like high levels of added sugars. And there's an increased focus as a result on educating the public about understanding the labels and the different names of the sugars, so that it makes it easier for you to make healthier choices and healthier lifestyle changes. So let's start now and start acknowledging that sugar is definitely present in our diets and in often unexpected places. Added sugars, like I said earlier, contribute to various health issues, and it can be from what we think of as healthy snacks to, like, real savory meals. And it's just unfortunate how it has affected our health over the years. And so now we're going to explore the hidden dangers of the dangers of these sugars and how it's affecting our health. We can't get away from it, that sugar is everywhere. And it's addicting. The statistics are staggering. According to the World Health Organization, the global average of sugar intake that a person is having is 17 teaspoons. And that is so much higher than the recommended amount, which is 6 teaspoons a day. So let me show you this. I hope that you can see this, but I'm going to show you what 6 teaspoons look like. So input. 6 teaspoons. This isn't sugar. I don't have sugar, but it's stevia, but it kind of is about the same size. Okay, so this is 6 teaspoons of sugar. So imagine, well, stevia, but it's equivalent to like the size of 6 teaspoons of sugar. So imagine 17 teaspoons. That's roughly 3 times more sugar. And that's like up like this. That's a lot of sugar in one day. But if you think about it, it's actually easy to do, especially if you drink coffee or tea and you use sugar instead of one of the alternatives like stevia or honey or something like that. So just think, if you drink 2 cups of coffee a day, and then you have like maybe some type of fast food, for example, and you put like ketchup, and then your meal might have like some mayonnaise and some other things that might have some other sugars in it that you don't even think about. And even your salad dressings, even when you make a salad, you have to really watch how much sugar is in like a tablespoon. Usually you shouldn't use more than a tablespoonful of dressing on your salad, but you got to look at that label and see actually how much sugar is in that salad dressing. And that's one thing that we tend not to even think about. It's just we naturally just get our food and just start eating. So I just wanted to share that just so you could kind of get a visual. And then there are different names for the sugars, and sometimes you might not really know what they all mean. So it's really crucial to distinguish between having like natural sugars that's like found in whole foods and your fruits and all, versus your added sugars that manufacturers put in like their processed products. So here are some of the like whole foods. It's like your fruit, so orange, apple, and some grapes. And one thing I do want to point out with the grapes, if you do have to watch how many grapes you eat, because they are high in fructose. But one thing though that you do need to think about though is when you are eating these processed foods, you have all of this caloric intake and all these sugars, and there's no nutritional value whatsoever. Might taste good, but it's not nutritious at all. And so here are some of examples of like processed. Like you might think, you might think that this is healthy because it says it's a tasty fruit flavored. That should be like a key, clue right there. It's fruit flavored, and it's Nutri-Grain. But a lot of people will grab this as a like a breakfast fruit, just a breakfast meal bar as you're like running out the house, so that you at least have something on your stomach. And then like later on in the day, you may start getting a little hungry and you grab like some peanut butter crackers. You might have some of those in your lunch. But if you look at the backs of the ingredients, you'll see all that sugar that's in there, and you wouldn't even think about it. So just want to share that with you. So we're going to move on and talk about some of the names of these sugars. So high sugar intake has been linked, like I said, to health problems like obesity, type 2 diabetes, and even dental issues. Sugar triggers like an inflammatory response, and it can lead to other chronic conditions. But speaking of dental issues, that's one area that some people don't even think about. Um, but I remember when I was a child, my parents would always be concerned about myself and my brother getting cavities because we had limited dental insurance. I think it only covered, getting your teeth cleaned. And so sometimes we got in trouble when we did go to stop by the candy lady's house on the way from school. And that was a big no-no. We would somehow save some of our lunch money and stop by there. But back then, sweets were a real treat. It wasn't a norm, but it was a treat. But today, like I said, sugar is everywhere. And I have spoken to dentists, orthodontists, even medical doctors about avoiding sports drinks because they are so full of sugar and you don't even really think about it. And they say that instead, replenish with your fluids with Pedialyte. That was a really big thing with my son's sports doctor, sports medicine doctor, and he was like, no, and some of the other doctors, like I said. And so sugar is definitely significant in the obesity rates. Obesity rates have soared worldwide, and studies do show that there's a correlation between high sugar consumption and increased body weight. And so we have to reduce the amount of sugar that we are consuming so that we can manage our weight and prevent obesity. And of course, obesity leads to other health conditions like type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. And it's it really is at an epidemic rate, if you think about it. So, oh yeah, thank you. I see you guys are adding some of your treats, some of your cereals. Yeah, cinnamon toast. That was another one. I remember that one. I know my kids like that one. So yeah, I have a picture of, they called it vintage cereals. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but it has sugar pops, frosted flakes, um, the mini wheats, apple jacks, Fruit Loops. I don't know if any of you guys remember any of those cereals, but yeah, when I saw that and I was like, wow, I had forgotten some of the names, but then that brought back some memories. But yeah, it's crazy. Um, but I do want to mention that um, some of the labels that you might see would say, they might say fructose or sucrose, or agave or something like that. But when you or they might say like high fructose, so you don't really know what level that is with or with what's in the product. Then there's the corn syrup. So one thing that kind of surprised me, a high fructose label actually included asparagus and peas, which I'm like, really? So of course I knew that the juices would be, and apples and pears and watermelon, they have like a high level of fructose, but asparagus and peas. And then with the corn syrup, of course, your typical like Heinz ketchup. I meant to bring that out because that's one of my favorite ketchups, and I actually have some in the refrigerator. Then there's also like Skippy peanut butter, Del Monte canned peaches. I remember when I was young too, we would also have like, those cans of peaches you would put in your lunch. Um, then the like Oscar Mayer lean white turkey. Um, that and it says Paula Deen um, salad dressing. Of course, Hawaiian punch has to be loaded, but I remember that was like a big thing, like for birthday parties. You would add, I think it was Hawaiian punch and 7 Up and something else. Um, and that would make it like a really nice birthday punch. So I remember this is like bringing back memories. And what's in like agave nectar would be what you would typically think of, like your jellies and jams and cakes and cookies. But one thing that I didn't think about was like alcoholic beverages, like beer and rum, tequila, wine. They have sugar in them. But I should have, but when you think about it, of course, wine comes from the grapes, so that's fructose. But I wouldn't think that it would be like agave kind of sugar. And one other thing I wanted to share yesterday, this really kind of threw me for a loop. Yesterday, I had just gotten something to eat, but I didn't get a drink, and I was really thirsty. I stopped at a little mart, and I was grabbing some other things. I needed some water, and I decided, well, I don't really want just regular water because that's all I drink all the time, and so I saw this coconut water, and I said, "Well, I haven't had coconut water in a while. I know the last time that I had coconut water, I didn't like the brand that I had gotten. It just hit my stomach funny. But anyway, so I decided to get this coconut water, but it's pineapple, and it tastes really good. But then I couldn't really drink it all. But I didn't start drinking it until I got home, and I looked at the label, and lo and behold, it has sugar in it. I'm like, that's what happens when you're just trying to grab something on the fly and you're not really paying attention. So that's something for you guys to think about as well. So I don't know if you've experienced anything like that before. You thought that you were getting something that was nice and healthy, and then you got home and decided, okay, let's see what's actually in here, and it was just filled up with a whole bunch of stuff that's not good for you. So if that's ever happened to you, do me a favor and put a 5 in comments and tell me what it was that you found or what you bought and you found what was in it that was not good for you. So, you know, I'm just really excited to see what you guys have going on. Let me look in the comments, see what I can see if I can see some of it. Talk about the difference. Oh yeah, 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 about Pedialyte and everything. Yeah, absolutely. So we've been talking about mostly, our physical well-being, but we have to take into account sugar's impact on our mental health. So let's delve into that a little bit. I don't know if you guys are aware, but there has been a link between sugar intake and increased levels of an increased risk of depression and anxiety. So, balancing your sugar levels is really, really crucial in maintaining your physical and your mental health. And so, here are a few strategies that you can use to help to reduce the sugar intake. So, now that we understand some of the risk of, eating a little bit too much sugar, um, then some of the things we can do is definitely reading your labels, like what I didn't do yesterday. Reading your labels, choosing whole foods, and just being mindful of your beverage choices. Not just your beverage choices, but also, your food choices too. So, in conclusion, um, you know, the journey from the sugary, delights of the 1970s, like what I experienced up to the present day, it really reflects a broader shift in society towards a more informed and healthy, conscious approach to nutrition. So, the discussion on the hidden dangers of the sugars in everyday foods, it highlights, the importance of understanding dietary choices, promoting transparency in the labeling, and definitely advocating for healthy alternatives with the way our food culture is evolving, and the health challenges. Our health in not in the United States, in the world all over, our health is just it's just getting really bad. It's in everything, and the rates of chronic illness is just soaring. It's like exponential, and it's staggering to see how the percentage is just growing. It's not like, okay, we're gonna have maybe in the next 10 years, 2 or 3 more percent of type 2 diabetes or cardiovascular disease or some of the others. It's like going up like 20% and things like that. It's just incredible. And I just implore for you guys to really, really take care of yourselves, share with your family and your friends to, think about their health choices. We only have this one life, and definitely, do your own research. This is just a tip of the iceberg. So just do your own research and find out what best fits your body, because all of us, we're all made differently. Some people can tolerate different levels of things than others, but and then you have to remember some of the medical conditions that tend to run in families, and if you do like a history, go back and look at what have the generations, what kind of diet have the generations been having. Is it is it your culture that you eat a high level of these foods that may may have like high sugar levels, or just look at those kind of things and see how it correlates to where you are and where your health is. So I just know that we can all do better, and we just need to take that, pause, take a step back, and just look at how you and your family are dealing with your food. And I just hit something. um so can you guys still see me? I just hit something, my screen jumped. So anyway, I just want you know to talk about that with y'all, and just kind of be real with what we need to do with ourselves and our families and friends. And so, excuse me, with these things, with all of that I just talked about, do you guys have any questions or concerns, or any other topics that you might want to explore? And feel free to share your thoughts. I'm always open, for a conversation. And for you guys that are watching the replay, after this is over, Please leave your questions and comments, and I'll do my best to answer to the best of my ability to answer. And if I don't know, I'll definitely do the research. So thanks again for joining me today. And I'm just so grateful and honored that you took the time out of your busy schedule to listen to me and to share your thoughts. So, with that being said, thank you once again, and here's to your health and wellness. And one more thing before I leave, I just thought about something. I have a um, Break Up with Sugar master class that's coming up right now. It's scheduled for March 4th. It's on a Monday evening. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to, continue weekly discussing all different aspects of how sugar is affecting us, and, you know, just different topics on the subject. So just be on the lookout for them. And I hope that you join me on my master class. And thanks again. I appreciate you. And here's to your health and wellness, and do your best to be the healthiest version of yourself as you can. Thanks again. This is Phyllis M. Weaver. I'm a pharmacist and a certified health, wellness, and life coach. My company is Discover Ultimate Health LLC. And you can always find me on LinkedIn and Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I'm just starting to really build my YouTube channel. So I really appreciate if you have a moment to go over and like and subscribe to it. And if you need to reach me by phone, you can text me or leave a message at 1-888-585-2851. And I'll write that all down. But you guys can always find me on LinkedIn and the other social media channels. Thanks a lot, you guys. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll be talking to you at another time. Good night.